All right, so today is on day 348. Nikki and Pippa Gumbel's Bible in a Year, classic version. Don't know if there's another version, but for the classic one. And today was Psalm 142. And for that one, the takeaway for me was that David felt like only God cared about him, and only God was the one. No one else was there for him. And I think everyone goes through periods of life like that. I think you go through periods where you think there's no one there. And I look at my own life, and I think looking in those times, that's when God wants to show you how much He is there. And that's what that time's about. It's not like you go through life and there's never a person there for you, but there are times whenever God wants to be the only thing that's there for you because He wants that intimacy. So I've always tried whenever I get into those times to press in and say, okay, this is the season I'm in, and what an awesome opportunity. And then it ties into our Revelation 4, where it's just this picture of the throne room and the glory that's there. And if you've ever been in a worship service and you've been worshiping, you know there's this thing that's just, if you ever just connect with it. But just looking at all the, Peter spoke to it. Paul spoke of it numerous times. Jesus said the spirit's willing, flesh is weak. Your flesh cannot worship. Those who worship in spirit and in truth. You can't worship in the flesh at all. So any portion that's from your flesh, it doesn't work. But it's neat to see that picture that we will never truly understand this side of heaven. But I, myself included, I think a lot of people worry, it's just going to be standing around worshiping if I go to heaven. And there's so much more to it than that. Spiritual things are spiritually understood. And we have a body, and our body's connected to this planet and to this earth and to this creation and to this corruption, and it's connected and cannot be separated except for by death. I guess God could make an exception, but for the most part, that seems to be how it works. And so you're stuck with your flesh, and you're going to have to deal with it. And so don't get caught up and worry about what happens on the other side. You know the faithfulness of God on this side. You know that He is good for you. You need to focus on that. If you're worried about, is heaven something I want to be a part of? It's like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you see living beings that their function is to worship. And if God made them to worship, then that's what they want to do. And just as I am made to do certain things and I feel connected with it whenever I'm doing it, the spiritual beings have to have some form of the same. So anyway, just my thoughts on that. There's a lot more to it than that. You could easily misquote some of that and try to establish some philosophy that I don't actually have, but general thoughts on the topic. And then finally we get into Esther 6 through 8. And just reading through these chapters, first of all, I wish I could stay longer. Like a couple days on Esther is not enough in my opinion, because it's such a great thing to think about. But I was thinking about how in my own life, how God has come to my rescue. And whenever he comes to my rescue, he's when he comes to my rescue, it's just like he did for her in these chapters, where it was that 24-hour period that everything just switched. Everything just completely flipped upside down. The day before, Haman's plan's going great and going exactly, at least as far as the natural, everyone's looking at it and they would see, well, there's a pole there for Mordecai, it's done. Like the servants obviously knew about it because it was mentioned, one servant mentioned it, and which is why he gets impaled on his own pole. And so in 24 hours, just a switch, it went from I'm going to humiliate Haman. God obviously had these judgments and decrees. He knew how to make it right. And whenever he said, okay, now's the time, it happened. And I think, and actually I know from my own experience, this happens in my own life. This is how it's been, that you can plead and you can beg and you want it to be made right. And then in a moment, it's right. In a moment, he switches it around and everything just shifts. And I think that for so many people, it's important to always try and hold on, because you don't know if the next moment isn't the moment that is going to shift. And you have incredibly great promises that God does have good for you. He has plans for you to prosper you. And your only job is to believe it. Let him do it. You don't have to make it happen. You need to trust him, and he'll do the rest. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching.